be sure to toss on my way, host. I would appreciate it a lot. Welcome, everybody. I'm Turbodog702. The first game that I'm going to be playing for you today for this charity marathon is going to be Raygun. Raygun is an Xbox Live indie arcade game. It is about $1 to buy. It is currently still available on the store, so if it looks interesting at all, feel free to pick it up. It is a okay casual game and a fantastic speed game, and you're going to see why in just a few minutes. So things are going to move very quickly, so I'll try to keep up. A lot of things can go wrong in this run, and there's a couple bosses that are very heavy RNG. But let's get started here. It's going to be on go, so it's going to be 3, 2, 1, go. So immediately, we start in Washington, D.C., but we're just going to go to Germany. This game does have a level select inside of it. The reason that we're doing all bosses is because of this. Presumably you could go to the end of the game immediately and fight the last boss. But that doesn't get to show off all the crazy jank that this game has to offer. We head to Berlin to pick up the air backdash. And the reason for that is because air backdash is extremely broken. With air backdash, we are able to basically fly using an exploit in the game's physics engine. So right now we're on top of the screen. And we're going to drop off real quick here to pick up slide. And then super jump out of there nice and easy. As you can see, air backdash also allows you to super jump and fly. So we are currently super out of bounds on top of the level right now. We picked up slide, which is your typical Mega Man slide with an interesting quirk, and that's that you can buffer slide inputs. So by holding the slide input and tapping down, I can buffer slides to come out, so it's a pretty quick form of movement. Check out this ladder grab from like 9 tiles away. It's pretty awesome. And we're going to get into the first boss here, and in order to fight the first boss, we're going to go ahead and first pick up this normal backdash, and we're just going to slide into the DMs. So funny thing about this boss is she doesn't actually die upon getting 0 health until you stop shooting her. So that's pretty cute. And we're going to make our way off from Washington, D.C. to Afghanistan. That is literally the name of the stage. I didn't make it up to be cute. It's very important that we try to move quickly through these screens. Right now, we do not have any defensive upgrades, so any hit that we take, like we just did there, is going to do about 1/3 of our life in damage. So because we made a slight error in movement, we ended up having to take that a little slower than I would have liked, but that's alright. Shoutouts to the nice little appearance of Tiny Tank inside of this stage. So you're starting to notice a theme of, like, this game is extremely broken, and you basically just fly all over everything and go out of bounds like crazy. This is going to continue for pretty much every stage. But it's a nice little quick run, shows off some interesting things. It's kind of hard to express to somebody who hasn't played these games just how many things we're skipping. But hopefully you can get an idea. Like, Afghanistan, for example, we are skipping about 70% of the stage by clipping through that wall at the beginning. And we're going to skip most of the underground section here by doing another clip through a wall. So as I mentioned, one of the nice things about this game is most of the things that I'm doing you can actually buffer. For those of you that don't quite know a ton of speedrunning lingo, buffer is basically using buttons in such a way that you can activate a button immediately after another one is pressed without having to do something particularly tricky. It makes a lot of tricks much, much easier. Oop. Don't want to go out of bounds there. But we do want to slide through this wall. Funny thing, I do need to backdash through this wall. If I tried to slide normally, then let's just say bad things would happen. Let's get past Tiny Tank. We're going to go ahead and pick up an armor increase here. It'll give us a health max, and it's going to help us out for dealing with damage later on in the game, because damage doesn't really go down. Just slide through this sand wall here real quick. So this is the first major point of contention for RNG inside of the run. I need this boss to transform into tank form like that, or into mech form. And that's actually almost perfect luck. So that's really, really good. It's very rare to have that happen. Normally he just drives around in tank form and you can't do damage to him. So it's nice to get that. We are going to hit another major reset point inside of this run. Berlin has a almost full stage skip, but it is pretty tricky. Okay. There we go. So that was like 4th try, which is, again, in normal PB attempts, that'd be a reset. Because even though that's really fast and it cuts out a lot of the level, this game is super, super optimized. I'm not even close to the best runner of this game. For those of you that are into a little bit of trivia, this is... Originally, where I learned from this game was it was a PJ game that he ran at one of the GDQs, and I was like, that looks super sweet, and I have to try it at some point. And eventually I got around to it. I was pretty happy to. It's kind of frustrating to grind at a very high level, but it's super fun to just kind of mess around with this game's physics engine and learn new things. We are now in Chernobyl. Main thing to worry about in Chernobyl is to try and do the main tower climb up to the top of, I think it's an oil tower, as quickly as you can. Ooh. So that's not what we wanted to have happen, but that's okay. So we're just going to infinite jump our way up most of this, and hope... Okay. We had to take it easy there. So it is possible when you jump that high, if you reach the top of this tower, you just die from a death collision box. You have to enter the boss arena from this ladder. So very important that we kind of cut ourselves short there. So this is another major RNG point of the game. This guy has to do his flame charge, and we have to kill him very quickly after his flame charge. If we don't, then we can't kill him. He does a regeneration move. So he's not giving us our flame charge. Ideally, you want him to flame charge like twice, basically, immediately. We don't want to do more damage to him because after this, he's going to start regenning if we do too much. And that's that boss down. So we're heading into the final stage of the game here. This is Moscow. We're going to defeat the evil Medved, which I believe is like literally bear in Russian. It's pretty funny. We're going to take a nice little tour of the Russian skies. Probably hang out with Zangief. I hear he protects the Russian skies pretty well. So very important that we move in a structured way at this point, because as you can see, there's some nice little Mega Man spikes there to kill us. Ooh. If we get too out of the way, or if we get too much out of the way. So at this point, we need to clip back inbounds, which is sometimes easy, sometimes annoying, but we did pretty good there. So once you have the arc shot, which is like a grenade shot, you can actually drop down ladders. We haven't seen the arc shot that much up to this point, except on the Iron Curtain, basically. Or not the Iron Curtain, but the Berlin Wall. So this is a dangerous part of the run. We need to do a very precise super jump here. If we go too high on this screen, then we actually die to death collision. So let's hope that doesn't happen. There we go. So now we just have to hope that we don't fall through these screens. Which seems like it should be easy, but not so much, because this game has a weird habit of causing you to transition screens at kind of odd times. Okay, so the last trick we need to do is we need to clip our way back inbounds. I'm going to give the optimized strat a couple tries before we do the backup. Okay, we got the best strat, which is good. So we're going to come up on the last boss. Last boss has two forms. End time is when the screen fades out after the last boss. I'll kind of give you an idea when we get to it. I am notoriously bad at this boss, just because of, I'm not the best masher in the world for single buttons, like Mega Man style games. He's not giving me a great pattern here. Wow, okay. So will we get the out of bounds here? We will not. So we're going to go ahead and mash grenades on him and hope that we do enough damage to him before he kills us. Alright, nice. Time's going to be coming up here, so get ready. And time. So the Soviet Union ended, the nuclear war was averted, and 1980s were saved. And nothing bad ever happened again for the next 30 years. Be sure to check out Red Raygun. Coming never, since the Virtual Boy is super dead. But that was Rad Raygun. Super, super fun play. It's a nice little casual game. They actually came out with a Super Rad Raygun on Steam and on other devices. That's a better casual game, but I think a worse speed game. The real charm of this game is in its kind of jank with the physics engine and all the things you can do with it. I encourage you, if you have a free dollar and this looks at all interesting to you, and you have access to Xbox Live Arcade, to get a hold of it, because it's pretty sweet. But I think we're probably going to go into transition here while I get set up for Castlevania Lords of Shadow, which is going to be New Game Plus, any % full power. So I'll go ahead and catch you guys in just a few minutes, I suppose.